From the Crush Studio in sunny Florida, this is the Disney Crush Podcast. And now your two tempests in a teacup, Dave and Toni-Ann.
Andy, thank you so much for coming in at the last minute and helping me out.
I even wrote my own intro. So thank you for doing it. I did.
You did?
Yeah. You want to hear it?
Yeah, maybe Dave would rather use yours.
Okay. On this week's The Disney Crush Podcast, episode number 340, Andy is taking over the host duties for this week's show. In this week's episode, we will be discussing the recent trip that some of our wonderful friends recently went on. The trip included one of our dear friends' 29th birthday, and what's become a crushing tradition, they participated in Dapper Days.
That was good.
Thank you. And now, start the show. See, I wrote it out of order. Dave can still use it or edit it or do it.
Dave can definitely use it.
Good.
Yeah. So, well, we'll see what he decides to use, but I can't speak for him. He's the producer.
No,
he has,
correct.
He
makes all the money.
He has literary license. Yes. All the money. Yeah. Yep. All the money. Because this is we got Joe Rogan money rolling in. Oh, I just lost my voice. Let me take a sip of water.
Lose your glasses. Dave loses his. No, you lose your readers. Dave loses his readers.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. All of any Patreon contributions people make goes to buying readers because we're old and need readers.
Like I legit have two coworkers that do what you do. They go to like Costco or Sam's Club and buy like the 20 pack.
Yeah.
And like we'll find them around the showroom. Like, okay, is it Mickey's or Jamie's?
Yeah. You lose them. You just put them down and then you don't know where they are. And then, like Dave said, all of a sudden you'll find 10 pairs. Yeah. And then it's the weirdest thing.
But I have another coworker does the Dave thing and he'll get like the really obnoxious colors. So then they're easier to find.
Yeah. That's smart. Are you saying Dave wears obnoxious readers?
I mean, I like him. He wears some like neon green or orange or pink.
He wears pink ones. Yeah.
I like him.
Mm-hmm.
Dave's got style.
He does. He really does. And look, we're kissing his butt because,
we are. Because we care about him and we miss him.
But he didn't care about us tonight. He didn't want to come on. He said, no, I got family stuff. So whatever.
That happens.
So Andy, you were telling me right before we came on that we talked last week about the truncated Food and Wine Festival, Flower and Garden, how the dates have been shortened. And you had an interesting theory about pre-pandemic.
Went and looked at some of the pre-pandemic dates because as you mentioned last week, this year it's August 29th to November 23rd.
Right.
Which looking at previous years prior to the pandemic, so 19, 18, they were traditionally right around that 85 to 87 days. Because this year...
In 1918, they had a Food and Wine Festival?
Yeah, it's when our dear friend Jen Batchelder went to Epcot for the first time.
In 1918?
Yeah, she went to, I think, 1776 was the first time she went to Disney World.
Yes.
So it just falls in line with when she would have gone to Epcot for the first time.
I am not involved in this statement, Jen. That was all Andy.
But so like last year, it was 115 days. Mm-hmm. And the previous year, it was 129 days.
Right.
So it seems to be, getting shorter. And as you mentioned last week, are they going to announce some type of summer festival that they're holding on to, which would make sense.
Well, I remember in the past, pre-pandemic, they used to have the Sounds Like Summer series, which were concerts in the American Gardens Pavilion. And it was sounds like Bon Jovi, sounds like Journey. It was all these cover bands. And every weekend they would have, Slippery When Wet. That was the name. That's the name of the Bon Jovi cover band. That's really their name.
Wow.
Yeah. And they would have, the Foreigner cover band, the Little River Band cover band.
Yep. Well, there's a local band that is instead of the Foo Fighters, they're the Fool Fighters.
The Fool Fighters. Yeah. Right. So they would have the cover bands. It was called Sounds Like Summer. But I wish they would do that because it's fun.
And with all the local bands they have, especially like, you went to the M80s last weekend. Yeah. And they do a couple other things. It's definitely doable.
Did you ever, I know that did you ever see Blood? No, was it called Blood, Mulch and Shears? I don't think Blood was in the name. It was like, but it was a band that would play in Hollywood studios. And the same way that Jameters are like janitors.
Mm-hmm.
This was like a grounds crew. So they were sweat, mulch, and shears or something instead of blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
It was like something like that. But they were in Hollywood studios and they would play rock, but they would go around looking like landscape people. And
I like it. I didn't know that existed.
Yeah, it was really good.
And
yeah.
Speaking of Hollywood studios, they just celebrated 35 years.
35 years. Yep. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite attraction at Hollywood? Putting you on the spot here.
I really just came to the parks in the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I never rode the Great Movie Ride.
Aw.
So I never got to experience that. I remember seeing, not Ready, Set, Go. What was the action-packed one where they would do the stunts?
Oh, Lights, Motors, Action.
Lights, Motors, Action.
Yeah.
When we went in 2014, I saw that, and I really like that. But I'd have to say my favorite now is I'm not a huge Star Wars fan.
Uh-huh.
I love Toy Story Land, even though it's hot as heck.
Yeah.
My son and I both love Midway Mania.
Yeah.
We went in, like a month ago, and I think we went on that ride 3 times, and
nice.
I think he beat me twice. I go with Selena, and Selena destroys me.
Uh-huh.
So it was nice to finally win.
What
about yourself, Toni-Ann?
At Hollywood, my favorite ride, probably, I love Rock and Roller Coaster, but it might be Slinky now. And I love Rise. I mean, Rise is amazing, and I am a Star Wars fan, so, but it's a whole different level. Rise is a different kind of experience.
It is, just like Tower of Terror when the lights are off.
Yeah. I that's one of my all-time favorite memories at Hollywood Studios.
Same here.
Stuck on Tower of Terror with you.
Mm-hmm.
So
we've been stuck on that one time when you played.
We played Proclaimers. 500 miles.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in total darkness. If people haven't heard the story, we got to the bottom. It went up and down and up and down and up and down. And we got to the bottom and it just stopped. And we were all sitting in darkness for what felt like a half hour, but it was probably like 2 minutes.
Yep.
And there were little kids in front of me and they were kind of scared. So I turned on my phone for the light. But then when I turned on my phone for the light, I realized on my phone, it was queued up to play the Proclaimers 500 miles. And I would walk 500 miles. So I just hit play. And everybody in the car with us, in the elevator with us, started singing it. It was really funny. And then the voice from above said, "You'll be moving momentarily."
Yeah.
They were like, kind of like, "Shut up."
Get evacuated.
Yeah. They were telling us to be quiet, basically, is what they were telling us. But it exploded in sound. We just were singing. It was good. But I think that helped the kids. It also helped Andy be less scared. I'm sure. Yeah. So, Andy, you said you had some news.
I do.
Okay.
A little update from last week.
Okay.
The new Passholder exclusive Stitch Magnet is now available.
Yes.
And you have until June 26th to get it.
Right.
It looks adorable.
Yeah. And there were lines like out the door, but they moved very fast.
Yeah.
But the thing that I saw that was crazy was there was a major line to get in the Passholder Lounge.
And why?
It's the Marrakesh restaurant in the back of the Morocco Pavilion. It's not, they have refreshments, which, like
water and Cheetos.
Right. Infused water with like cucumber infused water and some snacks. And it looked like bags of peanuts and something else.
So it's like somebody went to Costco, picked up some peanuts and trail mix.
Right. But that's what it was. It was like Chex Mix and peanuts. Okay. So people were like lined up to France, past France.
Yeah, I saw some pictures. It's ridiculous. I mean, at least with the infused water, if you got a cucumber, it could have come from Living with the Land.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. So I know you're not a big Fort Wilderness person, but yesterday the Fort Wilderness Facebook groups were losing their ever-loving minds because Fort Wilderness announced that if you are renting an RV, a lot of times people come down and rent RVs, and these RV companies come to your site and set it up for you. And then it's just kind of like you just show up and get in the RV. And then when you leave, they come and pick it up. Disney announced that they are now going to only be allowing 5 preferred vendors come in and set up, I guess, without the renter present. But the wording is very vague. This policy starts June 1st. I happen to have a friend who was renting a camper on June 1st, the first day this policy kicks in. She's not renting from one of these 5 preferred companies. So she's like nervous.
She should get grandfathered in.
Well, they called Disney yesterday and Disney was like, so too bad, so sad. She called the RV company. They stopped answering the phone.
Oh, geez.
But today she talked to somebody at Disney who made it sound like similar to the scooters. If you're not renting from preferred scooter rental place, you have to be there to meet the person. It sounds like that's what's going to be. She's going to have to meet the RV and they're going to have to be with her to set it up. But we're not 100% sure that's the policy.
And the logistics of that could be terrible because let's say you're, I'm going to land at 10:30 and you have delays. You don't get there till 12:30. And, they have, like any business, they have a timeline they got to keep.
I'm sure.
They have to deliver yours. And it'd be interesting because, it's not something I'd ever want to do because I looked at renting an RV once to drive it across or go on a road trip, and it wasn't cheap. So it's like,
no, it's expensive.
For what I could rent an RV, I could just get a cabin.
Right. And that's because a site at Fort Wilderness that can hold an RV is expensive. They're over like 150 is like the low season. They go up in almost into the 200s. And then the RV rental on top of that, I don't, but I think if you have a big family, that may be the most cost effective way to do it with a big family.
Correct. And like if you're like Dave and you have an RV yourself, it's great because I can pull in, I got my water hookup, I got my electricity.
Right.
And it's still cheaper for them than if you wanted to stay at a moderate. But, I was just looking for fun, like in 2 weeks.
Right.
The weekend after Mother's Day. And they had rooms had all-star movies and music for like with a pass holder for like $110.
Yeah. The other thing is the golf carts. The golf carts, they're saying now they're not accepting off-site golf carts. And if you bring your own golf cart, they want to see proof of insurance. That makes sense because
that does.
Because you're going to be on the roadways. And if you get in an accident on Fort Wilderness property, if you hit somebody, they want to know you're insured. So it's on your insurance. Or
especially if somebody has like, the little kid wants to drive the golf cart and they hit something or hit somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be a licensed driver to drive the golf carts on.
Because when we stayed there in January, we didn't have one. Once you figure out the internal buses, it's easy to do. But
it's not that bad.
No, I could see the convenience, but for Disney's prices, it was like $75 or so.
Yeah, a day.
That would get expensive.
Yeah.
On top of
the price, right?
If that's the case, I might as well, get different experience.
Right.
But then I could go stay at a different, I could go stay at a moderate and walk right to my room. But you get a lot more room in the cabin, which is nice.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But so my friend has her fingers crossed that what the person told her on the phone today is true, that she can actually meet the RV and she won't have a problem. But she's a little nervous because she's getting there the day the policy goes into effect.
I wouldn't want that added stress going into a vacation. It's going to be like, how are you going to handle the new DAS rules when those go into effect?
Right. And she's a family of 8, so she doesn't have a lot of options.
No.
If she gets there and they tell her no, that's going to be problematic, trying to find accommodations for 8 people at the last minute.
Correct. So. Especially if you are still then stuck with the rental charge of the motorhome.
Right. So we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah.
Anything else news-wise, Andy?
Two more things.
Okay.
This one I'm excited for. They announced that Epcot will be welcoming a very exciting collection to the American Adventure Pavilion in World Showcase. It's Portrait of Courage, a Commander-in-Chief's tribute to America's warriors. It's a special exhibit by George W. Bush.
Okay.
It's going to be part of Disney's admiration for those who have served in the armed forces and our veterans. This is scheduled to open on June the 9th. The art exhibit brings together more than 60 vibrant oil paintings that President Bush has done. I think he's done them all since he's been out of the office. Yeah. And there are service members and veterans who have served in the military. Each painting is accompanied by the inspiring story of the veteran So guests visiting the exhibit will learn more about these military heroes' journey.
Very nice.
So
that's going to be in the American Pavilion downstairs, like while you're waiting in the waiting.
I'm assuming so.
Yeah. I've seen other exhibits there. I've seen the jazz tribute and things like they do exhibitions every so often.
Outside Regal Eagle, I have not spent much time in that pavilion.
Oh, you should go explore have you ever seen the show?
I have not.
It's a good place to soak up air. And it's, you are on the quest for the ultimate nap locations.
I am.
It is if you go to the show, it is a good half-hour nap for you. So maybe next time I see you,
especially
we'll
during
go
the summer when it gets so hot.
In the summer when it's hot, it's
I'm really hoping they announce some previews for Tiana soon, so I can sneak something in.
Yeah. I think it's going to happen the day after I leave because I'm leaving June 9th. I have a feeling it's going to start right after I leave.
I was talking to Samantha one day, and I'm like, would it make sense? Because I thought I saw a post from Nick Ayub that they're going to maybe opening something to travel agents or social media people.
Media, yeah.
And so do you do that and you go right up to the 4th of July and open it that weekend? Would make sense.
I've never been #hosted, so I don't think I will be invited to the media. Because I say whatever I say whatever I feel like, so Disney doesn't like me.
That's okay. We still like you.
That's okay.
And then lastly, this is something you kind of posted this morning.
I did?
And I did a little more deep diving. Back in 2022, right around 4/20, and last year, right around April the 25th, they announced the dates for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. They have yet to announce them. But then you posted something this morning. Actually, I have one more thing after this. Regarding the Autumn Magic in Magic Kingdom.
The Autumn Magic. What is the Autumn Magic, Andy?
You posted in the Friends of the Disney Crush.
I posted that there was the Disney Fall Autumn website says something like, we can't celebrate like we normally do, which somebody said that sounds like somebody just cut and pasted the 2020 stuff from after COVID and messed up.
You called it Autumn Magic. You referred to it as Autumn Magic. I thought that's what Disney was calling. You said, this is interesting. By the way, people, sorry for boring you. This is interesting regarding Autumn Magic at Magic Kingdom.
I made up a term, Autumn Magic.
You must have, yeah. I like it.
But it looks read what it says. Because go ahead.
Then it says, then you copied and pasted. The fall season may be different at Walt Disney World Resort this year. We are going to welcome back the spookiest of seasons, the best we can. So jump in and enjoy the season has to offer.
It sounds like somebody copied and pasted the 2020 stuff by accident.
That makes sense. Because why? I mean,
and plugged it in there. Or just took the page from 2020. And I think it's an accident. I really think it's an accident. But I'm not sure.
It's sold out. Like we had a blast.
All the Halloween parties sell out. Yeah, no. So we'll see. We'll see.
Last thing.
I think it's almost they do the halfway to Halloween thing. So I don't know when they're going to do that. It's coming soon though.
Because usually that party starts, middle of August. So we're coming up on, and that's starting in 3 months. So Victoria and Albert's received a Michelin star.
Yes, they did.
Their first ever. Mm-hmm. And it's actually the first ever for an amusement park to receive a Michelin star.
Very cool.
For those who don't know, it is located inside the Grand Floridian.
And Andy's going to take me there soon.
I will so want to go.
He's going to pay. Andy's paying. Anybody else wants to come, Andy's paying. All right. Should we let our guests come on now?
We should. Yes.
Okay. All right. We have the birthday girl herself, Torie Hunt.
Hello.
Andy said you turned 29 this year.
That's right.
I said something different.
Mm-hmm.
I added 31 years to that, but Andy says it was 29. I'm sorry. I misunderstood the assignment.
My bunions say not 29.
Your lumbago?
Gout.
Did I make her 60?
Oh.
You did.
You can edit that out in post. It's okay.
No, leave it. It's very typical for how my brain is working lately. We have our dear friend Rebecca Rudin with us.
Hello.
who helped plan a lot of these events. And we have some guy named Glenn Kessler who insisted on coming on the show. We have to appease him every so often.
Hello,
Mr. Glenn
losers.
Kessler. Hey, losers.
A crab walked in and just needed to say hello, losers, to everyone. I'm sure crab walked into the right podcast, didn't I?
Well, you're wearing a Disnerd shirt, so I don't think you did crab walk into the right podcast.
But it's purple. I'm partly
yeah.
on theme.
Is it?
It looks very dark. All the lights are off, and it's
he
still
says it's purple, and I'm wearing purple, so apparently he's matching me. Apparently, there was some memo that I don't know. Oh, Torie's wearing purple too, and Andy's wearing his Kurt Stone shirt.
I am.
Yeah, and your Deirdre Watts hat.
I am.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Very good.
One of my favorite people.
Aw.
You know, Deirdre and I were texting while you guys were down there. We were both having JOMO.
Mm-hmm. Because it was so hot.
That's exactly. We were missing out on that hot weather while we had some gorgeous, spring days here in the Midwest. But we missed being with all of our friends.
Yeah, you did not have JOMO. You were literally planning a flight the night before. Don't lie. We know.
Oh, trust me, I was. Like, I had something where I couldn't, and it was like, I did everything in my power. Like, I came this close.
Oh.
But I figured I don't want to annoy my wife too much. So I figured I should be smart for once and stay home.
I really did think I was going to turn a corner and you were going to be there. I really did.
Yeah, same.
But I got Trey instead.
Yeah. Which is, let's be honest, Trey's way better.
I'm glad you said it.
We love Trey. You posted the other day, literally our best, call him a misconnection Craigslist find, best thing we ever did.
That's right.
Yep. Hi, Torie.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm well.
Good.
I know that people supposedly came for my birthday, and that was very sweet. But truly, like back to what Andy was saying, like the joy when we realized Trey was there, it could not be contained.
Is this the Trey Nolan Love Fest? Is that what we're going to have now? We're just going to talk about how great he is. If people don't know, because not everybody knows the story, Trey was not a listener when we forced him to be our friend. As some of you know, I love to troll the free cycle groups and see what people are leaving in the laundry room. Lunch meat, entire watermelons, potty chairs. So I was trolling the free cycle groups, and some of our friends were trolling them too to bring us funny things. And our friend Amy Beckner saw a free cycle post where this person posted like 5 sips. It was a 2-liter bottle of Diet Coke, and there was like a mouthful left in the bottle, and he put it outside his door at the resort and posted it on Facebook, free cycle room 2020, whatever it was, and come get it and we decided this person needed to be a crusher. So I went out and cold called him. I messaged him on Messenger and said, I know you think this is crazy, but come join the crushers. And he did. He joined us, and now he is a full-fledged crusher. He is even part geek, but mostly crusher. But yes, we pulled him in and made him our friend. And now he comes to Torie's birthday as a surprise for all of us. So
literally pulled him in and made him your friend.
That's right. Yep. So post on the free cycle groups and maybe you'll make friends. Who knows?
Usage may vary.
Right. Andy's going to ask all of us the questions because he's going to be the interviewer tonight because I'm going to answer some of them too.
I believe in ladies first. So Rebecca, we're going to start with you.
Thanks.
I know. I guess we're not ladies.
I'm gonna go
flattered.
No, that's fine, Andy.
I guess he's respecting his elders.
He only could have insulted more if he had chosen me after he said that.
Rebecca, what is the best thing you ate all weekend?
My favorite thing that I ate all weekend was a bite that we got at Monsieur Paul. It was tuna sashimi. And then on top of it was I think like a mint sauce. I don't know how to describe it. Kind of a mint sauce. And surprisingly, on top of that was an olive tapenade, which anyone that knows me knows I'm working on liking olives. But I think it was a perfect bite.
Yeah, I don't like olives, and even I liked it. So, I mean, I'm not working on it. I'm a hopeless,
You're just okay
but
with
I
it.
still liked it. Torie says that much like gin, I need to try better olives and maybe I'll like them
Mhm.
because I turned Jen Pulliam onto gin because all she knew was the stuff she drank behind the Quickie Mart when she was in, I'm going to be generous. When she was a junior in high school, even though she was probably like, in 7th grade, when she was a junior in high school, the gin she drank back there compared to the gin that we drink at Walt Disney World. Now she likes gin because it's better gin. So Torie says I should try more expensive olives and maybe I'll like olives. So maybe that's why I like the tapenade.
She's 100% correct. Go to like your Publix. They have the olive bars.
That's what I said to her.
We have a bar by us. The bartender makes some really good blue cheese stuffed olives. They put in some martinis. Oh, amazing.
I think you just turned Rebecca off again.
Sorry.
Two things I don't really like together.
Alrighty, Torie, over to you. What is the best thing you ate all weekend?
I have 3. I'm also going to be answering some of these for Joe as well. We were talking
good.
about it right before I came down. So the first thing, Jen Wen had posted it to, just the message group that she had grabbed a tamale at the Mexico food booth for Flower and Garden. It was a tamal de rajas. And it was poblano peppers, corn, and cheese in a masa topped with poblano cream sauce, crema mexicana, and pickled carrots and onions with chives. It was outstanding. You know how typically with tamales, the masa is like rubbery and dense?
Mm-hmm.
This was pillowy, fluffy, light, like biting into a cheese corn cloud. So delicious. And we'd been traveling all day and we were starving, so that probably had something to do with it as well. But it was absolutely delicious. And it went great with the pickled onion and carrot. That acid and the crunch just was a perfect balance. Loved that. When we were doing our Disney Springs in quotes food crawl, Joe and I did at Haleo, we did cured meats and cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Flight, I guess. And the best cheese, and Rebecca's going to love this, is called the Baldeon. And it was like as blue cheesy as it could possibly be. And it was a combo of pasteurized cow and goat milk. And it was so fermented that, you know how when you eat bad fruit and it tingles on your tongue?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what this cheese did. And it was exquisite. So it was kind of spicy, kind of tingly, super pungent. That was delicious. And then, of course, the Yak and Yeti pork belly bowl that was on their like seasonal menu before, but because it was such a crowd pleaser, they put it on their regular menu.
Yeah, it's on the regular menu now.
We did have a bit of a fit when it was not on the season menu before we really looked at the regular menu.
Right. And our server was not helpful about that. He wasn't like, oh, wait, guys, it's on the regular menu. He was just like, no, we don't have it anymore.
Yeah, he's like, no, I never heard of it. I don't know what you're talking about.
But when Rebecca finally found it, she like screamed, like the whole restaurant turned around. She's like, I found it. It's actually here still.
And then that's when he was like, oh, yeah, all the customers liked it so much that we added it to the regular menu. I'm like,
he was a liar.
Listen, Steve, or whatever.
Dave. His name was Dave.
Yeah.
You can't trust Dave.
From Long Island, right?
Yep.
Right. Long Island.
Yep. He was chatting me up about Long Island. All right. Who's next, Andy?
Toni-Ann.
Oh, good. See? All right. So I'm going to say, because nobody else did, the sea bass in the puff pastry at Monsieur Paul. It is legendary. Paul Bocuse, is that right, Torie?
Bocuse.
Yes. He was known for this dish. It's sea bass in a puff pastry. And they do a whole tableside presentation of it, which is kind of silly and pretentious because literally they take it from one plate and move it to the other plate. They didn't do anything to the fish when they did it. They just literally, this is the fish and they put it on the plate. This is asparagus and they put it on the plate.
It mixed up salt a little bit.
They move the salt around on the plate.
They mixed the salt a little bit.
Which is the worst thing to scoop up off of a flat plate and put onto another salt.
But is a whole tableside presentation of it. But it was like a perfect bite. The fish with the flaky pastry crust, buttery, yummy. It was really good. It was probably the best thing I had that weekend.
Mr. Kessler?
Well, I certainly agree with everything that everyone has said so far, except I did not get any of that tamale. I have a picture of it and it was gone before I had a chance.
Lies.
I did not.
Bites.
I did not.
Yeah, when you came into the building, there was still some. Yeah, there was still some.
I didn't even start eating it until he walked into the building so that we could share it.
All right, I'll have to jog my memory. All right, all right. So, Monsieur Paul has been mentioned twice already with an amuse-bouche and the legendary puff pastry, and I'm going to make it 3 out of 4. Can I say this? Cassoulet d'escargot à la cressonnière sur une émulsion de pommes de terre. Escargot soup is what we were calling it casually. It was a green foamy soup, which was obviously an emulsion of watercress, because we all understood that French, and potato. So it was a potato and watercress emulsion, and the escargot were just kind of buried in there. I thought they had brought the wrong thing. I thought this might have been an extra soup course that they were throwing at us when it showed up, because I did not do all the video prep and photo prep that some of you guys I'm sure did. And so when that showed up and then, we started digging in, I was supremely surprised. It was escargot-y, garlicky, and that perfect mouthfeel, a little chewy, a little soft. But the softness, the delicateness of the emulsion was really wonderful. I can feel it in my mouth right now, just incredibly light and foamy and airy. That was great. So I really enjoyed Monsieur Paul really across those 3 items. And I'll surprise you when we get to question number 4.
Yeah, they were. Yeah,
we'll return back to Monsieur Paul.
There were a few missteps, I think, but we'll talk about that, I'm sure.
On to the next question. We're going to start with Torie. Torie, did you have any new experiences on this trip?
Yeah, I had a few. The first one was Port Orleans Riverside. That was the first time we'd ever stayed there. It was fine. I don't think we'll go back. If we're going to stay over in that area, we'll do French Quarter. It was just too big. I like to be close to the bus stop. So it was good to have checked it off the list. For me, the thing that was the newest experience, it was the Disney Springs food crawl. And it was new for Joe and me. It was because we've never been around drunk people in our lives.
Oh my goodness.
Like and it was a little jarring for us. And so that was a fun and new experience. Calling it a food crawl was a stretch, but it was funny. We have lots of really great video of someone. And then our third new experience was making our way over to that really sad dance hall over in the boardwalk.
But and you were so cute.
We walked in and it felt just like a skating rink from my youth. Later, Joe said, like, what even is the deal with skating rinks? They're like nightclubs for 10-year-olds. But it was actually really fun. Like, we got out there and Joe and I danced, and I think it was surprising to people that people can dance without drinking. That was a fun and new experience.
Joe Hunt and Ken Ludwig, they both are quiet, but when they speak, they have something to say.
So, quick question on the Atlantic City Dance Hall. I know you have to pay a cover charge to Jelly Rolls.
No,
Do you
you-
have to
oh.
there?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I'd be appalled if they.
No,
Okay.
you just walk in that place, and then most people
Okay.
walk in and walk out.
Yeah. The cover charge is not the reason it's empty most time.
Okay. Alrighty. Toni-Ann, same question to you. Any new experiences?
Oh, new experiences.
Hanging out with drunk people.
No, that wasn't new for me.
No, that's not new.
That was behind the Quickie Mart in 7th.
When you're eating your olives, eating your terrible olives.
Bag of Funyuns.
And Mad Dog 2020. Okay, so new experience. We went to Four Flamingos, which was off property, and it was further off property. We went to Sear and Sea at G3. That was right at Bonnet Creek. Four Flamingos was more off property than we have ever gone before. It wasn't that far, but it just seemed far when the driver was going because I had no idea where he was going. It's at the Hyatt Grand Cypress, and it's a Richard Blais restaurant. If you don't know Richard Blais, he's a celebrity chef. He's on Next Level Chef with Gordon Ramsay. He's got the big bouffant hair. If you're, thinking of celebrity chefs. And we went to this restaurant. It was way in the, you had to like go down a long hallway and then outside into the backyard. It was very weird how far it was from everything else. We had some really interesting, mostly seafood dishes. Some were hits and some were misses, but I think that swordfish prime rib was, I think everybody's, that was a winner as far as I was concerned.
Please go into more detail about that because it sounds amazing.
Nothing like prime rib. Still unsure about the naming.
Why they named it that. It's a swordfish prime rib, Neptune's cut. 16 ounces, black lime seasoning, brown butter, and sea salt. It was a 16-ounce swordfish. Glenn, Rebecca, Jen Wynn, and myself pretty much shared off of that. We had other things too. It was very good. The server mentioned bone marrow, but Glenn couldn't find much in the bone.
No, that was another bold-faced lie, just like our Long Island friend at Yak&amp. There was no bone marrow. It was pulverized. It was hard as a rock, the bone.
I'm trying to look on the menu for some other things that we had. We had
octopus. We had tuna tostada.
Oh, that was good.
Had the empanada, the foie gras, and something else.
Oxtail and foie gras empanada.
Oxtail empanada.
That's good.
And the shrimp toast.
We had shrimp toast. We had broccolini.
Yes.
Yeah, Toni-Ann, that broccolini was pretty good. I've got
the broccolini was better than the creamed spinach that Toni-Ann chose. There was no cream. It was pretty much lemon spinach. It was not good. This is 2 for 2 of me going to off-site restaurants with Michelin recommendations and choosing a loser vegetable because at Sear and Sea, I chose the mushrooms and that was the loser. So I chose the cream spinach and that was the loser this time. But
so you had a lot of losers on this trip.
Well,
there's 2 different trips, Andy.
Yeah.
No, he's talking about the guy in the pool.
The guy in the pool. You didn't even tell that story yet.
I told it last week on the podcast, but you don't listen, so it's okay. Everybody.
She must have missed that part because she listens every week. We know.
Oh yeah, she listens every week. She just missed that 1 minute. She had to go to the ladies' room.
The tuna on the tostada with the passion fruit egg yolk thing was almost on the cusp for being my favorite thing this week. So
it was pretty good.
Just kind of shut that one.
Did anyone have the croquettes that we ordered for Jen? Poor Jen Pulliam really doesn't eat seafood, and this was a seafood heavy restaurant, so she got the ham and cheese croquettes, but I didn't taste them. We kind of left them for her.
I'm sure I had them. I just don't remember.
I noticed something as we were leaving that the next day they were bringing like bread service to other tables that they didn't bring us. I noticed, so I don't know.
We rolled up there pretty loud. I don't know if you recall. And
I don't know what you're talking about.
They might have penalized us bread service. I
had a really good drink and our server kind of tried to talk me out of it. She said, "Oh, it's really, really sweet," but it really wasn't sweet. It was a watermelon. I don't even see it on the menu.
It was like cucumber watermelon.
Yeah, cucumber and watermelon. Does that sound super sweet to you? It wasn't.
I didn't order it because she said it was sweet.
And it really wasn't. She lied. So I'm sorry you missed it.
I had the saddest smoke bubble presentation ever.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, she just couldn't get it to fire. The video didn't come out.
Glenn, did you have any new experiences on this trip?
Yeah, Four Flamingos was new. Monsieur Paul was very new. Obviously, that was an indulgence that I had not partaken in. But I will say, since no one said it yet, Savor the Savanna. I have not done many tours or special extras like that. I think the behind the scenes is probably the only one I've really done.
I'm just surprised that's the only one you ever did.
No, that's it.
Knock you on 5 minutes before the
We have to get you on Keys to the Kingdom.
Yeah, right.
We really have to get you. I mean, that's like the first one you should go on. So
yeah, I was petrified of losing the magic of behind the scenes and things like that. And I've only recently gotten to the point where I feel like these things actually enrich the experience.
Yeah.
Like the VIP tour. But Savor the Savanna was, I thought that was a wonderful and outstanding experience from top to bottom. We boarded our own special little truck that looks like very similar to the ones that you go on Kilimanjaro Safari. And you are led with a very caring and thoughtful and knowledgeable guide. We had a guide that some of you had before. She was really, really not hamming it up, but she was definitely being very playful with us. And you go through the Kilimanjaro Safari ride, and then you take a left when everyone else takes a right normally. And lo and behold, you're delivered to the most magical little boma that you've seen when you go on the ride. But there you get to stay and enjoy the most incredible African charcuterie made by the Tusker House chefs and same type of cuisine. And it's I guess it's all you could eat, but then they portion out certain amounts. They don't bring any more. That's actually something to know.
Yeah, I didn't get a lot of chicken salad, people.
Well, we were scared because you kind of called your shot and said you were going to take all the chicken salad. So we got in there real quick. I'm sorry.
I hardly got any.
Oh.
Luckily, the menu's on the recipe's online. So,
but what was there? Do you remember everything that was there? I've got some pictures I can dredge up, but it was a lot of. There was olives,
meats and cheeses,
charcuterie, but then some of the special items, that were more specific to the Savannah. I'm trying to grab some of them.
There was some shrimp. Yeah. There was that not date. It was fig and almond that they combined figs with almonds. It actually reminds me of my grandfather at Christmas. He would crack nuts and then he would open a fig and he'd stick the nut in the fig and then he'd eat it. And that's exactly what it tastes like.
Yeah. So
it tastes like Christmas to me.
Aw, that's sweet. She had encouraged us to wrap that with the prosciutto. That was tasty. The hummus was different because it was pretty, it was thinned out quite a bit. It was still delicious. Shrimp didn't have any shells, whatever. It's fine. And then, I actually really enjoyed, some of the naan had anise in it.
Yeah, that was good.
I really liked that. It had a little bit of a crunch to it from the seeds. So that was actually my favorite of the. Oh, and then the pineapple was tasty. It was
with tahini.
Correct. But honestly, I can say this: with that view and that company, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich would have been delicious.
Yeah,
like it was just so spectacular.
Crustables or homemade?
Anything.
They had binoculars there that you could use if you wanted to look closely at the animals. You were very close to some of the animals. I would not say touching distance, but they were not far away. You did not feel removed. You felt very much entrenched in that experience, in the Kilimanjaro Safari Savannah experience.
The dessert, I forgot to talk about that.
The dessert was very good.
Yeah, the dessert was tasty. The s'mores cup, it was like a pot de creme, like a chocolate pot, but with graham cracker and toasted marshmallow. That was delicious. That was actually my favorite of the three. There was almost it was like a candy bar almost. It was like a pop, but it was a chocolate. It felt like a candy bar. You could snap it. So it was, one bite. That was it. The passion fruit cake, I did not get the passion fruit out of it. And I'm eating it. I said to Joe, it doesn't taste like passion fruit. And then I went, oh, there it is. Like it was at the very back, the back end of the bite. So definitely the little s'mores pot was the best.
Well, I didn't know about the fruit aspect of that, and I ate it, and it was a delicious spice cake, I thought, and was quite lovely. If I didn't know expectations, I maybe would have thought differently if I knew.
And there was beer and wine, African wines, and pog juice, and Andy, once again, cucumber infused water. That's the second time it's come up on this podcast.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was good.
Just out of curiosity, how much does the Savor the Savanna cost?
I think it was $170 all in, but that included a discount.
Yeah, I think it's $189, but we had a pass holder discount.
Did you see the value in that compared to some of the other tours or experiences you can do?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good.
I did because it really, it can serve as your dinner it really did for me. So.
And did you have a large enough group where it was only our friends?
No.
We had 3 stragglers.
We had 3 people. I felt so bad for them because our guide, Christina, was really kind of catering to us. So I kind of felt bad for Michael, and I don't know what chick's name was.
Girl.
And the girl. Michael, and the girl.
I think they had a good time. One of the Michaels had to keep closing the door on the vehicle, kept popping open, and so he had a job while we were doing
holding the door.
Yeah, it was a little awkward, and we had to tell the driver to back up and move. It was like a little more hands-on than I thought it was going to be. But no, it was a wonderful experience. I think worth it, especially if you go with friends. I would think about like if I was doing this just alone, is their value is did I eat $170 worth of food? Did I ride on a ride that was $170 different than Kilimanjaro Safari? Not really, but I think if you had a group and you could share moments, there was a moment when, I was looking out at the savannah with my brother, and that was really special. And one,
did I send you that picture?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
You're obsessed, and we're like videotaping me all weekend.
I'm obsessed. Yes.
But and with Rebecca and others, and watching Torie, we have some cool photos with Torie in the big kahuna chair and all of us around her for her birthday with the savannah as a backdrop. Like that made it more worth it. But I would just give a slightly lower mark is it worth it? Only to say, I think if you went with a group or had an energy that you could bring to it as well.
Yeah.
That's good. Are you, Rebecca, any new experiences for you outside of these other ones this weekend?
No, I think everyone said them all.
Okay.
Well, you went to STK for the first time, and that was an experience.
Well, that was going to be my disappointment.
All of our disappointment.
All right. Toni-Ann, we all go to Disney a lot in our group. Did you hit up any old favorites?
Oh, Yak and Yeti. We went to Yak and Yeti.
Yak and Yeti.
Okay.
I would like to just say, when I made the reservations, I didn't know you could that if you showed your Landry's card for that you get like bumped up to the front of the queue. And so Toni-Ann literally goes, "You didn't show them your Landry's card?" Like right in front of everyone. And I was a little bit embarrassed. And so I said to John, the guy running the front desk, "Did you hear her yelling at me?" And he's like, "I got you. I heard all that. I got you. It's okay."
Yeah,
So,
your mom is really rude.
You're making me sound like such a bad friend. But okay, the last time Torie and I went to Yak and Yeti, we were sitting there having lunch nicely and talking about PhotoPass. And I said, "Oh yes, this year is my turn to buy the PhotoPass for our annual pass, because Veronica and I alternate years. One year she buys it, one year I buy it." And I'm like, I'm never not buying it again, because I don't get any of our friends' pictures the year that Veronica has it, because she's not friends with all these people. So I said, I'm getting it this when I renew. And Torie was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? I said, "I thought you don't get it on your annual pass anymore." And I said, "Well, you could pay $99 and you get it for the whole year." Torie, what have you been doing for the last year?
Nothing. It's fine.
She pays $99.
She had been buying PhotoPass every trip for, what is it, $169, $190? It's ridiculous what they charge for it.
I don't know, but I had they're like, both Rebecca and Toni-Ann are like, you're gonna walk your little self up to that guest services, and you're gonna tell them what you did. And so I did. And she goes to the back. She goes, I'll be right back. And she goes to the back, and then she comes back and she said, we see that you come here a lot, so we're going to give you back all of, we're going to refund you all of those Memory Maker charges onto a gift card, and then just charge you the difference, like for the
$99. Right.
It was so sweet. It was so sweet. So I got a gift card with like $600.
Whoa.
Right?
Work.
So nice of them. And I'm glad they weren't there with me, because they would have embarrassed me.
But that's why sometimes I have to be firm with Torie about speaking up for what she deserves, like using your Landry's card to get priority seating. That's the whole reason you have your Landry's card, so you can get right into T-Rex next time. You don't have to wait.
Oh, God. No.
Next time you go to T-Rex. Because I know you're doing that on every trip. Yeah, Yak and Yeti was an old favorite. And I got to taste some of the pork belly. Torie was nice enough to give me some, because that's my bag is char siu pork. And I got my wonton soup, my coconut shrimp, and I got the Korean barbecue. It was gochujang on chicken tenders. And it was surprising. It was chicken tenders with gochujang on it, basically, which is, like a Korean chili paste, if you don't know. And they were surprisingly good. Yeah, everybody kind of liked those. So,
yep, those are tasty.
All right, Glenn, speaking of T-Rex, did you hit up any old favorites?
Yeah, definitely never going back to T-Rex again. That is happily a one and done. I'm glad we have that memory, Andy, so I never have to be told by you, let's go back there again. Yeah, I'm really thrilled to be able to call this an old favorite. It's not very old, but it is now the second trip in a row that we have gone to Summer House on the lake and gotten the shaved Brussels sprout salad with seared ahi tuna. And it was really good when we went on the kids trip to start things off for that trip. And it was really good when we basically started off this trip with our friends getting it. It's, the Brussels sprouts shaved incredibly thin, and that's your bed. Your greens, and then on top of it, the best seared ahi tuna, sliced and cooked to perfection. So yeah, I look forward to doing that and making that more of a regular habit. But I would also say, like, immediately after that was another old favorite, but that was not actually the right place, but definitely is something in our little personal histories, Kessler family histories, were pickle shots, which we got them at Splitsville outdoor bar over there. So just short walk from Summer House. And I don't know how this started. I know Rebecca was in on the planning of this, and Trey too. Who were the masterminds behind these?
Me, Trey, and Amanda.
And it's just a shot of vodka and a shot of pickle juice. And we do this. Kesslers do this. Our youngest brother, who shall not be named, I'll just name him Kevin. When he's down in Ocean City, Maryland, there is a bar across the street from his property that they have there called Pickles Bar. And of course they have pickle shots, and we go in there and get pickle shots as a whole family. It really brings the family together, Torie. You should try it sometime. It's wonderful. But when we have them, we have the pickle juice and the vodka is in one cup at Splitsville. Apparently they separate them. So I walked over there. Everyone was doing their first shot. I grabbed my two drinks. I threw one into the other and chugged it. And everyone starts yelling at me. Well, minutes later, Jeff joined us for the second or third round. And he did the exact same thing right before, and I was yelling at him. You guys don't know how to Kessler pickle shots.
Yeah, most people they do the vodka and then they chase it. You chase it with the pickle juice. But
Alrighty, Rebecca, any old favorites?
Yeah, so they already said some of mine, but I worked from the Sanaa Lounge again.
Did you have to do electrical engineering like you did last time?
My plug was there and ready for me. My seat was there and ready for me. always just let me sit there for as long as I want and take care of me. Glenn only had like 30 minutes for lunch, so I worked with my server, and he put the food in right at the right time to get delivered right when he was coming downstairs. So they're always very accommodating.
Did either one of you try the Sanaa burger? Because I heard from our buddy Rob Madiri that it's delicious.
We did. We both did.
And you don't agree with Rob Madiri by your faces.
Yeah.
I've had it. It's fine.
I thought it was okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love you, Rob. I really do. And I love your taste in almost everything. But as this was put up against in my mind against the burger over at Geyser Point, I had very high hopes. And I just, maybe we got a bad one. Maybe it was overcooked. Maybe the goat cheese dressing was not what it is. Anyway, I did not enjoy it. I definitely enjoyed the chips that came with it, the seasoned chips, a lot like Dahlia Lounge. I know many of our guys have had those spiced potato chips, but the burger was, for me, it was just a burger. It didn't wow. But it was amazing being able to walk away from work, go down to the Sanaa Lounge, have a burger, and my love waiting for me down there, and we ate and talked, and then whoop, see you later, bye, and I think you paid the bill, so it was even better.
Torie, any old favorites that you hit up? And Joe?
Yeah, so I have a routine every time I go to Magic Kingdom. I go over to the Space Mountain store. I grab a bottle of Coke Zero. And then I exit the store, take a sharp right, and I refill my popcorn bucket right there at that little cart. And then I proceed to the People Mover line. My moment of zen every time. It never disappoints.
Sounds amazing.
Also, pirates. That's something that Joe and I just always do, whether we're at land or world. No matter what, we have to ride pirates. So when we wrap Savor the Savanna, we had the fireworks cruise that night. So we're like, can we make it over to Magic Kingdom, sprint over to Pirates, and then still make it over in time for the fireworks? And as we're power walking down Main Street, I'm like, we can do anything. We're Joe and Torie Hunt. And we made it, and we got back in plenty of time.
Well, truer words were never said. You can do anything.
Glenn, is there anything that disappointed you on this trip?
Yeah, well, after that Sanaa burger, I'll leave the low-hanging fruit for the rest of you guys. And I'll say, since I teased it earlier in the episode, the other half of what we ordered at Monsieur Paul, as high as the highs were, like best bites for us over a super foodie weekend. You could see us struggling to come up with old favorites. For so many of us, this trip was about new experiences, new foods with gourmands and adventurous, palates and all that good stuff. And we had incredibly high hopes, I think, for Monsieur Paul, and it delivered half the time. And then the other half, it didn't. The sea bass, which was the other fish.
No,
option.
that was the snapper. The snapper.
Oh, I'm sorry, the snapper. No, the sea bass was the one that was in the puff pastry. The red snapper that was in tiny little, I would say dime-sized medallions of potato and crispy, very crispy, and on a bed of, I can't remember if it was like potato or something under that, but it just kind of sat there. It didn't have any wow texture like I thought it was going to. It wasn't crunchy. It was, it wasn't, I don't know. It was just not a very good texture, not a good sauce. What else, Toni-Ann?
I just want to mention something about that dish. That is supposed to be their signature dish. It is the dish that they when you look at their menu, that is the dish that's at the top of the banner picture for the restaurant. So it's really sad that dish didn't deliver.
It's very pretty. It just didn't taste very good. The desserts were incredibly forgettable for me. I know one of our friends, Jen.
Chocolate.
That's actually one of my favorite experiences. You just stole my favorite highlight memory from the trip, but I'll just tell it now. For dessert, Jen got a chocolate bomb. Torie got it too. I can't remember how many others might have gotten it at the table. And it was a sphere of chocolate, and inside of it was other stuff. And they pour hot syrup chocolate over top of it. So it's chocolate inside of chocolate inside. Well, the waiter, the server, I should say, came over to Jen Wynn and he starts describing it. I guess they have one person per table because we heard it at the other table as we were heading out. And they're like, and here we have the chocolate, and inside of it is your chocolate. We're going to pour on top of the chocolate and the chocolate and the chocolate and chocolate, chocolate and chocolate, chocolate. And it was never ending because he's vamping for as long as it takes for the hot chocolate syrup to melt the sphere and reveal what's inside. And it just was never ending. So they're like, I think he likes you.
Well, Torie had one too, but Torie's server wasn't as attractive as Jen's server. So.
And then at the end, he looked at her and said, I hope you like chocolate.
That's crazy. And she did, actually. I don't know if it was some voodoo that he said, but like she dug into that and was back in the same level of heaven and ecstasy as the swordfish that she had at Four Flamingos. So,
we didn't mention something about Four Flamingos. Her salt.
It's at my house.
She had a love affair with the salt that was the rim on her drink. It was a grapefruit infused salt. It was really good. So Rebecca bought it. So.
Yeah, Jen had a really good week of food. I believe there was a lot of satisfaction, shall we say? But what else was? I personally didn't.
You didn't like the fillet. You guys didn't like it. Had no seasoning. You said. Yeah,
the fillet. It was small. What was it? 3 ounce fillet or something like that? 3-4 ounce.
Maybe 4.
It was a small fillet. It was. I mean, I've had the fillet at a lot of different places on property. I still think California Grill is probably the best. Just melts, with a fork. And this one was tougher. It was not flavorful. I know some of you guys will disagree with me. I did not like the lamb chop, kind of, for me, undercooked. The cheese plate was uninspired. And the other dessert that we got was the apple tart. Totally forgot everything. Just really, really forgettable. If I were to do the whole meal over again, and you can cherry pick your items, I think I now know that obviously that amuse-bouche was outstanding. I would see if I could get a couple of those escargot soups. I would get double of the a double of the sea bass with the puff pastry. I would pay the man to say chocolat, chocolat, chocolat to me, but I would probably just get some ice cream and then a double cheese plate. I think that would be good for me.
Did you taste the chocolate? Because it was really good. It was really good.
I'm not really a chocolate person. I'm not really much of a sweet person at all anyway. So it's spice cakes and things like that are more for me. That's why I got the apple, but the apple was texture-wise was a little too crispy.
I do want to mention that it was us at one table. We had friends at another table and they had 2 fillets come out cold and had to send them back, which was a whole big, because I saw the plate come back. I didn't know it came from our friend's table. And I saw the manager and his head was exploding that these plates were coming back. And it was actually Jeff, it was Glenn's brother, said his steak was cold when it came. And I think we should mention about this restaurant. We kind of have alluded to it because with the chocolat and the fish being presented tableside, there's a lot of show, there's a lot of showmanship, but it's like they didn't have their crap together. It was like they bring out a big tray, right, Glenn? A big heavy tray.
So heavy.
And if there's 5 of us, there'll be 5 servers that come out, and one server will stand next to each of us with to present us our plates of food. But half the time, the right person wasn't standing next to the right customer, so they'd have to kind of shift. Like, no, that plate goes to her. But it kind of should have been planned like back where we didn't see them figuring out what plate goes to what person. Am I saying it right? I know I'm not. I'm jumbling over my words here.
You are. They just didn't organize themselves. If you go to a restaurant of that caliber, they should organize themselves behind the scenes, walk out and hand you your dish. But instead, they would all stand around us. And the manager, who was kind of awful, that
he was not nice.
Stand there and direct all of them or kind of scold them as they were putting down the plates or possibly putting down the wrong plates or not sure where they should go.
Real quick, I want to circle back to this question. Monsieur Paul is $195.
Yeah.
Would either one of you, all 4 of you, I want an answer from all 4 of you, based on the cost and the experience, would you do it again?
I want to piggyback onto Glenn's because my most disappointing is, and I'm sighing when I say this, Monsieur Paul. That was my biggest disappointment of the trip.
We were looking forward to it very much.
And,
we were excited.
And it was for all of the reasons that all Toni-Ann, Glenn, and Rebecca have all said. The food was just lackluster. Nothing was just exquisite. And for having the name Monsieur Paul Bocuse attached to it, it should have leveled up. The steak, nothing exquisite about it at all. The Yak and Yeti ribeye was exponentially better than at Monsieur Paul. I think Joe got like chicken, and it was just roast chicken, and it was mushroom on mushroom on mushroom. There was zero balance to it. At the end of the night, the server asked us, "Will you be coming back?" And we all just, we were speechless. It was awkward and uncomfortable. And so I made some comment of, "Oh, well, do you have a seasonal menu?" And she was making stuff up. I don't think they really do.
Right.
So to answer your question, Andy, I personally, I won't go back. No. I am thankful for the experience, and that was worth it to me.
Okay.
I have paid $195 to know that I don't need to go back.
I just want to say something though, because I was by myself, so I know what it cost. It was $280 out the door for me. I had one cocktail. It was $18 cocktail. It was good. The cocktail was good. But so to say it's not $195, it's really not, when you figure in tax and tip and everything, it was $280 for one person out the door. So talking about Victoria and Albert earlier in the show, I mean, you're not quite there, but you're getting close.
And I promise I'm not trying to be a contrarian, saying that I wouldn't go on Savor the Savanna perhaps again for that value, but I would go back to Monsieur Paul. Knowing what I know now, I would cherry pick the items that I mentioned. I would double up, and they do permit that. We had people who did.
Right.
Double up on the sea bass, double up on the cheese plate, double up on the amuse-bouche and the escargot soup. Make it mine. I did want
to mention that too, Andy. We had people that didn't eat fish, and they were fine with people ordering 2 meat courses.
Okay.
We had people that didn't eat meat, and they were fine with them ordering 2 fish courses. Yep. So they are amenable to, even though it's a set menu, they're amenable to making changes. So,
but it disappoints me to hear that they could not properly do a steak.
I think it was properly cooked,
but it wasn't seasoned.
I would say, but it was not good at all.
Was it 130 degrees?
Torie wanted her lamb chops cooked to 143 degrees, and the server looked at her like she had 2 heads. And Torie said, "Oh, just kidding," but she really wasn't kidding.
No.
She really wasn't kidding. Now, Glenn says the lamb chops weren't cooked enough, but that was how Rebecca ordered them, to be fair.
Yeah. That is true.
My lamb chops were cooked the way I ordered them, and they were delicious. So maybe.
So Rebecca, did you like the lamb chops?
Yes, if I would order again, I would order exactly what I ordered this time, which was the sea bass and the puff pastry and the lamb chop.
Only the lamb was good.
I got the same. Torie, Rebecca, and I got the same entrees. I would get the chocolate instead of the apple as my dessert.
Absolutely, that's right.
So are we all collectively, is everybody's disappointment in Monsieur Paul, or does Rebecca or Toni-Ann, do you have a different one?
Yeah, I have a different disappointment.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't think I was disappointed in it. I just don't know if I would go.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to? I don't know if you're going to say the same thing that I.
No, I wasn't going to say the clunker. No, I have a different disappointment.
Do you have one then?
Yeah, SPK, which we don't have to go into detail, but we never go there because it's incredibly overpriced. But I had never heard that it was bad. I just thought it was incredibly overpriced. There's one in New York, also overpriced, but not bad. Okay. Like good food, just more expensive than you want to pay. And everything we ate was bad, like including just oysters had no flavor.
We went for the happy hour. So there were dishes that are $3, $6, $9. And we kind of cherry picked from the different things on the menu. But there was a Wagyu meatball, Andy, And I went to cut the Wagyu meatball and my fork literally bounced off of it. It was so rubbery. It was bad. It was bad. And I had to tell you, Scott and Karen did tell me that morning when we were at breakfast, you guys shouldn't go to SDK. It's terrible. Everything on that happy hour menu is terrible. But by that point, we were kind of committed. So we went anyway. Sorry, Scott and Karen.
But we get to see Hendrix right now, so it's a happy moment.
Yeah.
Sweet baby. Yeah, there was a salmon and cucumber minced, tiny little thing in little spoons. Presentation was lovely on many of the items. The oysters were incredibly large, but everything was just flavorless or terrible textures. It was a huge mess.
I didn't know oysters could have no flavor. These oysters have no flavor.
None.
No salty, briny, nothing. Not even that,
Jen Wen ordered the tater tots, and they were awful. They were awful. They were soggy. They were huge. First of all, they were like gigantic barrels, and they were smooth, and they were soggy, and they tasted like you know how when you put something in the oil before it's hot enough?
Yeah.
And so then it just soaks up the oil, and then it just tastes like old oil. And that's exactly what they tasted like. It was such a disappointment.
So Kevin Curtis Allen. We did our 3 times. I know we just talked about food, so I hope you're still with us.
Yeah. I didn't get my disappointment, Andy. I didn't get my
I'm
disappointment.
sorry, go ahead. I thought you meant, oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't. So first of all, I have 2 disappointments. First of all, as we were leaving Monsieur Paul, we went down the stairs and I saw the saddest sight ever was all of the people that work at the French bakery leaving the French bakery, which meant no baguette for Toni-Ann for this trip. So I didn't get to have a baguette. That was a disappointment. But there was one disappointment. We planned this Disney Springs crawl, and there was one thing I wanted to get that I said, I'll go off by myself and get it. And then I never did because I think pickle shots had something to do with the reason that I didn't get it. There is a taiyaki. Am I saying that right, Torie? I don't know. It's a fish. It's a fish pastry, and inside it is sweet red bean paste and it has like a Bavarian cream, and it's at the Yasaki booth in Disney Springs. It's just a little kiosk kind of by Planet Hollywood. And they have different ramen and poke bowls and stuff. But I said poke balls like Pokemon. Poke balls. And, but I wanted to try this thing and I still haven't tried it. So we'll have to try it on another trip. We'll get it eventually. Maybe.
Rebecca, did you have anything unexpected that happened to you or anything that was pleasantly surprising?
Okay. I had fun at the M80s.
That's a great one. Talk about that. Yeah.
Well, Glenn knows my favorite part of the whole M80s concert was Toni-Ann jumping out of her seat and going, woo! And then starting the safety dance.
And then what was the song that, I would walk 500 miles?
Yeah, that was because she had made that video for the G3
group
after COVID. Remember you had made it to that
I made a 500 for the group.
Yeah. And so it was just so sweet that you and Glenn and Samantha and Heidi, was it just you guys? You joined in with the rest of the crowd and marched around. I got video of that. It was precious.
Yeah, the M80s were really good.
They really make you do crazy things.
All right, Torie, anything unexpected or anything that pleasantly surprised you or Joe?
Yeah. So I am not a sweet popcorn person. I love savory popcorn. But I had half a bucket left of just the regular popcorn. So we worked our way over to Canada with Jen Wen and Joe, and we had them fill the rest of it with the maple popcorn. None of us had ever tried it before, and it was still like screaming hot. And so we dumped it into our bucket, and it was still so hot that it was just like toffee, like hard, like rich, crunchy, buttery toffee. And so we just like shook the bucket. And so we were able to mix the sweet and the salty. And that was pleasantly, surprisingly happy for me when I typically don't like sweet popcorn.
Torie, have you had the popcorn at the Germany Pavilion?
Yeah, that's Joe's favorite. So we always have to get popcorn there. But excuse me, but he liked the maple popcorn. I wouldn't say better, but just as well.
Excellent. I've had the Germany. I've not had the maple. I think I'll have to try that next time.
Glenn, why don't you answer it?
Dole Whip Parfait, or whatever it was called, at the African Outpost, that little kiosk that's kind of permanently there between Germany and China. And it was not called, it was called like the something parfait. I don't think it had the word Dole Whip, and I don't think it really did justice to what it was, because when I think of parfait, I think of Greek yogurt and granola and stuff like that. And thank goodness this was not that. It was Dole Whip and like fruit cocktail that you would get from Del Monte, and then, more Dole Whip, and then more fruit cocktail and more Dole Whip, and then the tahini on top, sprinkled on top, and also a sweet drizzle, maybe guava flavor. I can't recall, mango or guava or something like that. It was so good. I got 2 of them, ran it back from there in 97-degree heat back to the Odyssey building. It was almost mush by the time. It did not matter. It was so good. We finished those off real quick. Definitely spoon eatable, not something you could do with a straw with the extra parfait elements in there, but it was definitely refreshing, flavorful, unexpected. Did not have that on my radar.
And that's why you didn't have any tamale. I just realized that because you were eating that thing.
Because he was eating it, not because I didn't save it.
Right, exactly.
I wasn't throwing anyone under the bus, just saying I don't recall eating it. Maybe I did. It was a wild trip, but
already. Toni-Ann, what's yours?
Trey. Getting to see
Great
Trey.
answer.
Yeah, really. It was really unexpected. And we had some nice times together. I think it contributed to Torie and Joe being appalled at people who drink alcohol too much. I think because we were sitting together and Torie and Joe got up and moved to the next table. So it made me think that maybe that was.
Trey is a graceful drunk. I don't know what you're talking about.
So is it the problem me?
No, just kidding.
I think that's what she's backing into there. Hello, loser.
Did you crab walk into that?
Hey,
in the pool.
I forgot to mention Joe's pleasant surprises. Joe said Savor the Savanna was unexpected for him because he didn't know about it. Apparently, I didn't tell him we were doing it. So he liked that one, and he also said that he found the grocery store cake in Japan just really nice. It was just so lovely back there. He said it was just so calm and quiet and peaceful back there. It's just a nice place to escape the craziness of the park.
Yeah, the back of the Japan Pavilion is where we had birthday cake, and
the
it was
grocery store's got some
really
great snacks.
It was a really good cake. We should have had bigger pieces because we wound up with an extra cake that we gave away. So
you're going to give her PTSD. Don't talk about how the cake was cut.
That was my fault. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, it was a great weekend. It was hot. It was really hot, unfortunately. We made a lot of really nice memories, though. And
good. Toni-Ann, perfect transition to our last question. And we're going to start with you, Torie. Highlight or best memory from the weekend? It does not have to be food related.
There's just too many, I think. Too many to nail down. I loved Savor the Savanna, but like I said, anything is just with that view, with that group of people, everything would have been lovely in that setting. The fireworks cruise was surprisingly just so peaceful. I loved that. The show itself, though, Glenn, I think we're kind of on the same page here.
Yeah,
like we want it, love it, but it just doesn't. There's no real through line for it.
And this was the Epcot fireworks show,
yeah,
right?
right,
the
Luminous.
Okay.
And
where did you leave from?
They cut off. We
Yacht
leave
Club.
from Yacht Club from that pier, and we circle around the lake just a few times, just in a circle over by Swan and Dolphin, and then work our way back over to Beach Club, and then under the bridge, and circle around a few more times, and then park. But yeah, Luminous is confusing to us a little bit. Like we want to love it so much, but they cut the song short, and it's a lot of kind of cliches. the narrator, like connection with humanity kind of tropes, you know, so I'm not sure. But the fireworks cruise itself, perfect. It was
Good.
just so memorable. And the chantilly cake, the grocery store cake that Toni-Ann and Rebecca ordered, it was delicious. I loved it.
Yeah.
But I think the most poignant part for me, and I'm not trying to be a downer or anything, but because we've gotten so close, there was actually some sadness and some grief and some loss that people were carrying during this trip. And I felt so much gratitude that we could be in that space together and still carry that with each other and be vulnerable with each other and still love each other and accept each other's human experiences in that way and still have respect and love for each other. Because sometimes once you see the messy side of someone, then you're like, nope, I'm out. Can't be your friend anymore. That didn't happen this trip, right? A lot of vulnerabilities were displayed, and you get to see the person for who they really are, and you get to choose to love them.
I want to tell you something. On that note, Rebecca got to see me for who I was. You want to tell the story, Rebecca, of the dance party?
I totally forgot until you just said that. So we went to the pool. Now we're totally not sentimental anymore. But we went to the pool because it was really hot out. And we had to go back and shower because we were going for a $195 dinner. And it felt like we should shower. So I go shower. We're showering. And I hear music and people singing. And I get a ton of FOMO while I'm in the shower. And I'm like, I have to get out of there. They're having a dance party without me in the living room. So I like rush my shower, get out, don't even get dressed, barge out of the door in a towel. And it is Toni-Ann by herself singing and twirling around the living room. So there is no dance party that I'm missing.
Chocolate covered matzah. She was.
Yes.
You could have joined. It was
I did stay there with you, but I just was. There were like 7 people in our room, I think, and I was expecting
more than just one of us.
Everyone.
You laughed for like 2 solid minutes. Like he was cackling. And at that point I was in the shower and I was like, now what's happening? I got to get out there to know what this is. The party's getting even more. But that was so hilarious. And Toni-Ann, that was not the first time we'd heard you singing. Flip the scenery. You had been singing in the shower all morning. And so we knew the pipes were there and you're a great singer. And
stop it.
No, it's really fun to listen to you and be in your presence in the room with you.
So Toni-Ann, what's yours?
I'm sorry. I lost track of the question. I'm not a professional podcaster.
Highlight or best memory?
My best memory, probably the M80s were a lot of fun. It was really fun, that show. That was a really good show. So, and that was really. Mm-hmm.
Glenn?
I had never worked at Disney before. I had tremendous fear and anxiety about bringing my job down to Disney and how am I going to focus on actually doing a professional job? But I teach one of my classes per week remotely and gave that a shot running it from a room on property. Rebecca had done it numerous times and vouched for it being a totally normal and professional experience. And it was amazing. But then clocking out and being immediately at Disney World was unbelievable. Like a second, I clicked the button and I was done, which of course, to Rebecca's chagrin, I get off 3 hours before she does. And I spent the next 3 hours. Can we go to the pool? Can we go to the pool? Can we go to the pool? Can we go play? Can we go do stuff? No. Okay. How about now? You done yet? So I don't know that she's going to let me come back and work again, but you have created a monster. And now I understand that I can do my remote work healthily, professionally from Disney and already be there ready to go. I will just have a plan for the next 3 hours after that. But if I can say one more, Andy, I really just want to drive home. The reason for this trip was Torie's 50th, and Torie's a special lady. You heard just a few minutes ago why. She has an incredible heart. Anyone who knows her and knows what she does on a daily basis, just for the people in her life, friends, family, and probably complete strangers. I just think that's who she is. When there was an inkling, a whisper of Torie might be celebrating a freaking milestone birthday, that we might be able to go down to Disney and celebrate with her. Everyone was on board instantly. And what can we do, Torie? What do you want to do? And really the highlight of the trip for me was seeing 30, 40, I can't remember how many people we were, our friends, all dressed up, dapper, unbelievably beautiful looking in purple, another force to have these single colors. We always have to do single colors when we do this. It just looks so powerful and so beautiful. Everyone expressing their individuality, everyone sharing in their union, as friends, and the most perfect little spot. Did you pick that spot too, Torie?
She did.
Yeah. Japanese pavilion, back corner with the little, kind of quiet areas, the bamboo trees around you, the water features kind of clinking all around. And I don't think we got visited by more than a half dozen people the whole time we were there. There was one beautiful moment where I don't know if you remember or even saw this, but a woman who had lost her daughter came by, and purple was her favorite color. And she took some pictures with us and gave us seeds of lavender plants that we were to plant at home in her honor. And she started getting teary. It was a really emotional thing. I've seen your speech, Torie, where you echoed some of the same sentiments that you just gave to us here about loving one another, and that we're messy and complicated. And life is, we go to Disney sometimes as our escape. But even when craziness, might affect us in that happy place, that we can all kind of find the good and find the positive. And you're a beacon for that, Torie, and celebrating with your cake and your color and your people and your speech all in that space was a really, really, kind of like forever moment for me, core memory for me. So thank you for making that happen. And thank you for being 29 plus 31, I think.
60.
Oh, is that what? Yeah. Not good at math.
No.
You're welcome.
Rebecca, I know you want to get to bed, so please take us home.
Torie already said mine, but my favorite moment was the fireworks cruise. It was towards the end of the weekend. It was kind of the closing of the weekend. It was just peaceful. We were all relaxed, laughing, having a nice time. We may not all like the fireworks show yet, but the view was really great, and just all of us crowded around the front of the boat watching.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, it really is a good value because if you have 10 people, it's like less than $40 a person with an annual pass holder discount.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think of how much those fireworks parties are in the parks, they're $100 a person. I think this is just so much more enjoyable, so much more intimate.
They offer you snacks and drinks, and you're also able to bring, I think, anything onto
anything not in glass containers.
Yeah, just not glass. So you could bring. I think the people next to us had pizza.
That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
I know you guys did the Epcot one, but there's also obviously a Magic Kingdom one.
Right.
And that would be a little cheat code if you wanted to have drinks and watch the fireworks, because you could not do that out of doors at the Magic Kingdom.
Right.
You were saying that the view's not as good at Magic Kingdom.
Right.
For Epcot, we were in it.
Right. You're under the French Bridge. Yeah. You're in the park, actually.
Exactly.
But the Magic Kingdom, the boat ride is better because you go all over Bay Lake and the Seven Seas Lagoon. You get to watch the electric water pageant. They pull you up and you watch that. the cruise is, you're not going back and forth like you did. You're actually seeing stuff. And then they park in front of the train station, and the fireworks, you don't see the projections or anything, but it's just a different experience, but it's still a good experience.
It depends what you're looking for. The value, I think, is good for either one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're very interested in the show, Epcot is better. If you're interested in just a nice, relaxing night, the Magic Kingdom one is better.
And there's going to be more availability for the Magic Kingdom one because there's marinas at the Contemporary, Fort Wilderness, Wilderness Lodge, Polynesian, and the Grand Floridian. So you have more options. And the bay is bigger, right there. Seven Seas Lagoon is bigger. So there's room for more boats.
All righty. Toni-Ann, Torie, Rebecca, Glenn, anything else to add for tonight?
I would just like to thank everyone for coming. Get yourself some friends who you can say, hey, everyone, throw me a party. And they go, okay. And then you go, for me? Oh, thank you. So,
that's what makes this community amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
Really.
But Toni-Ann and Rebecca were my admins. I just said, make it happen. Or they would say, what about this? And I'd be like, sounds amazing. Let's do it.
Torie says that Joe didn't know about the Savor the Savanna. Torie forgot about the Savor the Savanna and would have left Animal Kingdom after Yak and Yeti if we didn't say. She would have left and missed it.
It's because she yelled at me and I wanted to get out of there as fast as possible.
You want to do that when your mom embarrasses you.
I know.
Torie, Toni-Ann, Glenn, Rebecca, thank you so much for taking time out of your night to join us.
Andy, thank you for stepping in for Dave. Torie, Glenn, welcome. Rebecca, thank you, all of you, for coming on the Disney Crush podcast. If you want to get to know the Friends of the Disney Crush, join the Friends of the Disney Crush on Facebook. And we're on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. We're all over the place. You could find us, the Disney Crush podcast. Thank you, guys. Thank you. And everybody say goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.